Coming up on this episode of the Unusable podcast.
Working from home.
Andrew gets ignored by a chatbot.
A rigmarole.
Welcome to the Unusable podcast, where we discuss the importance of user experience in technology and the world around us, and we talk about great design that just works or moan about it when it doesn't. Hello, Andy.
Hi, David.
Hiya.
So, first podcast where we're not sat next to each other. We've been forced apart by a pesky virus.
So, yeah, we are both working from home, as a lot of people are. So right now, we're on like lockdown, which you might be listening to this a long time in the future. We're probably not going to talk about anything that's like too related to the lockdown, but we are going to be talking about working from home, which a lot of people do anyway, and a lot of people will do in the future.
I think it will become more commonplace after this.
Yeah, you reckon?
Probably.
I think it was always kind of like a perk, wasn't it? Like companies would say, oh yeah, you can work from home, as if that's like a really cool, really good thing to do as a benefit.
A lot of trendy companies have been moving remote for a while in order to get the best staff.
Yeah, because you can get the best staff from like the whole world, can't you, if you wanted to?
We didn't do our little intros, by the way.
Oh, right, yes. Okay, so we need to do the intro.
Yeah.
So I'm David Ball. I'm a front-end web and app developer.
I'm Andrew Waite, and I'm the product owner of a SaaS product.
Okay, good.
Technically not my job title, but that's fine. We'll go with it.
I mean, it's good that even though you've not got your notes in front of you, it is usually good that you know who you are, which is... I mean, that is a bonus.
I don't know. I never know how to present myself.
I know what you mean, yeah.
What are you drinking, David? Because the side benefit of us being at home is that we can have a little tipple while we podcast.
Yeah. Do you ever listen to the podcast, the Drunken UX podcast? They always talk about what they're drinking.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Right, and it's always some sort of like fancy whiskey, like Lagavulin 16.
Do you mean like this, David?
Oh, what you got?
I have got a bottle of Lagavulin 16. This is my favourite whiskey.
Oh my god.
I am that trendy hipster.
You know what I've got?
Go on.
Oh, I'm out of beer and I'm not allowed to go to the shop apparently to buy some more. So I'm just drinking what we've got in. And so I've got some Jack Daniels. So I'm having some Jack Daniels with ginger beer, which I think is a nice little sweet treat.
Nice.
Sorry if it's not as posh as yours.
I'm going to make some noise on the microphone. Bear with me while I just pour myself a glass of Lagavulin 16.
All right, fine.
It is the best whiskey.
This is not a whiskey podcast. If you want to do a whiskey podcast, you might have to get someone who likes whiskey just a little bit more than I do.
The Undistillable podcast.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Right. Not coming soon to a podcast channel near you.
Right. Whiskey in hand.
Right, what are we talking about? I can't even remember. How is it working from home for you? How are you finding it?
So, I think it's a mixed bag.
Yeah.
I very much enjoy the peace to be able to get on with tasks. So I'm not being disturbed by people coming up to my desk at any moment of the day. I can be my own master a little bit more.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
That's not to do with having authority over my day.
Okay.
It's more not having, other staff members, whether those be, colleagues or members of my team, coming up to me every 5 minutes. That, it forces other people to think for themselves a little bit more before they reach out to you.
Okay.
So
is that a good thing or a bad thing though? Because you might end up with people like not really knowing what to do for hours on end, and you could help them.
Well, that's why I say it's a mixed bag.
Yeah.
Because the other side to that coin is, yes, I'm getting more done, but I'm missing out on the collaboration a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Things like having a bit of a brainstorm is a little bit harder. You can still do it. Or we have Zoom meetings and get a kind of digital whiteboard and do some sketching, and it's it's good.
Okay, that's quite good. You've probably done a bit more than I have then. So what we do is every morning we'll have a team stand-up meeting. Well, we call it stand-up, although these days we're all sat at home on computer chairs or whatever.
There's nothing to stop you standing up.
That's true. Just feels a bit weird at home. So we just talk about what needs to be done, and we all kind of talk about the tasks, and so by the end of the day what we're going to have achieved, and that's what we do. But we've always done that in the office anyway. I just feel it's very different now that we're not in the office, because I can't be distracted, which is actually great, but also it's not that great because sometimes some of the best conversations come from when you're distracted, or when I might have accidentally distracted someone else, or they might have distracted me. I'm missing a bit of like the general chit chat, you know,
yeah,
just a bit of banter. I'm missing that because right now, if I have to talk to someone, I have to deliberately ring them up, and I'm not going to deliberately ring someone up to waffle, you know, just some random nonsense waffle,
just to have a little moan.
Exactly, just a little moan.
You know, it's aggravating. You're not going to.
Because I think programmers love love to have a little moan, don't they? You know, if you're working on something, just, it's not as easy as I thought, that sort of thing. And it's kind of cathartic, I think, if you're in the same room with someone else. You know, I find it quite nice to know that someone else is finding a task difficult.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And we can both overcome that together.
Yeah. Yeah, I miss, at the organisation I work for, we have 2 products, and they are quite similar in some ways. They're very different in others, but they share a lot of technology. And I've noticed that there's less collaboration between the 2 teams. You know, a lot of what used to happen around, I know this sounds really American and I apologise, but, you know, kind of water cooler moments where you would just be talking about some problem and someone would say, well, we've solved that on our product in this way, or, you know, use this library that we've already created. So those kind of helpful little moments where you would talk to someone in another team, that cross pollination with another team isn't there. And I can see us diverging more than we have in the past as well.
Yeah. In the office that I work in, there's designers and there's developers and there's people there who I will talk to every day, but I don't actually have any projects in common. And so right now I'm finding I'm not speaking to those people at all. And I miss it. I miss having people to talk to of, you know, who aren't directly in the team that I'm in, you know, that I'm not directly working with. So I ended up like finding just little things to actually talk to people about.
Well, that's a good idea. I think that's something that people are recommending, that you try and set specific time aside to contact people, even if you don't need to, just to have, you know, just spend half an hour a day having a chat with people. Yeah. When I first moved to work from home, I did a course that LinkedIn put up, which is a series of videos about working from home effectively. Right. The guy's a bit cheesy. Well, it's a bit, you know, I'm from San Francisco and I have the ideal life kind of guy.
Oh, right, okay.
You know, telling you about his perfect life. But one of the things that he talks about, because this course was clearly made before the current situation, it's just a general work from home. And he talks a lot about structuring your day and working in different ways so you still get the benefit of that kind of collaboration thing. So he would start off his day and he would have a coffee and he would plan his day, and then he would spend the morning working at home on some tasks. Then he'd go out for the afternoon to a coffee shop and he'd get that social aspect just from being in a coffee shop and working from there. And that's what he was suggesting, but obviously we can't do that because in the current situation
we can't go to a coffee shop.
Working in a coffee shop is not allowed.
Even still though, if you go to a coffee shop, do you really get the same sort of social interaction that you do with actual people that you know?
No.
Are you going to go up to just some random person and go, hi, please chat to me, I've not spoken to anyone all day, tell me about your life, here's what I did this morning?
Especially not in a coffee shop with everyone on their laptops, everyone engrossed in their laptops working.
I know, everyone else is going to be like, I'm doing some work, dude, just calm down.
They're the last people you'll interrupt.
Yeah. Or just talk to the waiter or waitress or whatever, or just go and just start telling them about your life, just for some kind of, you know, social human interaction.
Yeah. I don't know. I think one of the key things that we're doing is we do a Friday evening beer session. Okay. So everyone in the company jumps on Zoom. I've never seen so many webcams in at one time. You know, like we're on the movies when you see the big screen of CCTV cameras.
On the movies?
In movies.
Oh, is it like in Back to the Future 2 where they're watching TV, but they've got like, what is it, like 9 TV screens at once or something like that, maybe even more. They're watching all the channels at one time. Is it like that?
It's it's like we have like 20 people or whatever, and they're just on the same screen share at the same time, and you've got your screen's divided into 20. It's like a 20-way multiplayer screen.
Nice.
And you've just got everyone out of their little square.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, but I think that's really important, getting that human contact. Like us now, right? We this is our replacement for sitting opposite each other in the office.
Yeah.
And the advantage to this is that, I don't have to put up with your smell, and I can go when I want.
And you can drink alcohol at the same time.
Yeah.
So, Andrew, do you use any software to help you working from home, like management sort of software, like Jira? Anything like Jira?
So yes, we do use Jira, but we always did use Jira.
Okay.
Yeah. So nothing's really changed there. The only thing that's changed that the need to be really on top of the tasks, because someone can't just come and tap on your shoulder and say, "What did you mean by this?" You've got to be really super clear, haven't you?
Yeah, we've been having a lot of conversations. We use Skype for chatting, and so we have to use direct direct, I have to call someone and ask, what does this mean? Because what's written on this task might not make any sense, and it's confusing. So that's the sort of thing that I feel kind of bad about that sometimes, because you know how disruptive a phone call is. Well, it's not really a phone call, but a Skype call. Any kind of direct call could really interrupt someone's train of thought or whatever. And so I'm trying to limit the amount that I'm doing that, but I know that is the only way that I can get clear, concise information, to talk something through. Because if you just look at a comment on a Jira task, which might be ambiguous, I might get it wrong.
Yeah, I saw this the other day on Twitter where someone said, if you've suddenly gone working from home and you've replaced that physical contact just with Zoom meetings, you're doing working from home wrong, because it should be about moving to asynchronous communication more. So, having things written down, it creates a great paper trail, all that kind of stuff. That's what you should be aiming for. I appreciate in practice that's difficult.
What do you mean by asynchronous?
So asynchronous communication is something people talk about a lot in remote. And what that means is, so what we're doing now, we're talking to each other. This is synchronous communication, right? I say something to you, I ask you a question.
This is synchronous.
Synchronous, as in we're talking to each other.
I can talk to you, you can talk to me.
Yeah, I say something, you respond.
Yeah.
And if there was a delay there,
yeah,
you'd feel a bit miffed if I suddenly went quiet after you asked me a question. But asynchronous communication means that you don't expect an instant response, right? So you might write someone a message in chat, but the whole thing with asynchronous communication is there's no expectation on the sender that the person you're contacting is going to reply straight away.
Oh, right.
And there's no expectation on there's no guilt felt by the person that received that message that they must respond to it straight away if they're busy. That's asynchronous. And a lot of what I've read says that is crucial for successful working from home, getting asynchronous communication.
I'm not sure I like it.
It doesn't stop you from jumping on a call with someone. I think this is a misunderstanding with asynchronous communication, is that, it doesn't stop you instantly replying if that's appropriate. It doesn't stop you from going, oh yeah, let's jump on a call then. But it just the removal of that expectation.
Yeah. That
someone's going to drop whatever they're doing.
Yeah, okay. I suppose it's about the expectation, isn't it?
Because I've had it both ways. I've had it where I've messaged someone and I've been annoyed that they haven't responded instantly.
Yeah.
And that's wrong of me to do that, because for all I know, they're in the middle of something. I don't know. And on the flip side, I've been messaged people that's made me feel guilty and like I need to respond straight away, even though I'm in the middle of something, and I need to teach myself not to feel that guilt.
Yeah, I feel like TV and the internet has really reduced my attention span, so that so I really don't like having to wait for any sort of feedback though.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I have a massive problem with concentration. Actually, that's to be honest, that's the biggest challenge I personally feel in work in general, but I think it's been exacerbated working from home.
What do you mean? What?
Is attention span. So if something pings up, and I've constantly all day we've got company Slack, and there's always something going on in either a public channel or in a private message to me. I've got my emails open. I've got, things like status alerts about our platform. There's so much stuff going on, and I find myself very easily, something will pop up and I'll suddenly start dealing with that when I was in the middle of something. And before I know it, I'm, 6 things deep into a chain of half-finished tasks, and I really struggle with disciplining myself to ignore a notification until I've completed what I'm doing. That's something I personally really struggle with. Yeah, and I think just working from remote has exacerbated that a little bit. Yeah. It was already a problem I had, but it's exacerbated it because I feel like I'm getting even more messages now and even more emails. And
is it the amount of channels that you have? Like, because for me, I've got Slack messages, and I've got also email. But to be honest, ever since we started with Slack, I've pretty much demoted in my mind the email, and so I'll check that maybe every few hours, possibly. I mean, pretty much actually only twice a day, to be honest, at the start and at the end of the day. But I will immediately look at a Slack message. Well, although not immediately, I suppose. If I'm currently in a thought, if I'm currently typing something, if I'm currently working on something, and a Slack message pops up, I will finish my thoughts. I'll finish writing something down, and then I'll look at Slack and then see what someone's asking me or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's sensible.
But if we had, I don't have as many Slack channels as you. You've got quite a busy, chatty office. We've got a smaller number of people, and we don't really chat all that much, not like in a general type of chat. So we've got one chat, which is the whole company, which is used for, announcements. And then every other thing is a direct one-on-one. And I'll talk to a fair few people in the day, but we don't have the group chats, which I know sometimes can get a bit silly when people get chatting in a group.
So there's a train of thought that says that's a bad thing to do, especially working remote, because private chats, if you were to suddenly disappear, it means that private thread, for example, isn't accessible by other people.
Oh, right.
I have read articles that say that it's best to keep things public where possible. So yeah, other people can pick up and...
Yeah, but that public will mean that you're telling things to people who don't need to know about it.
That doesn't mean that doesn't mean everyone has to be subscribed to it. That doesn't mean that everyone else has to be in that channel and subscribed, but it means that if you were to say get run over by a bus tomorrow, other people could... You're not going to get run over by a bus. You're not going out, are you? If you get run over by a bus tomorrow...
There's no buses running right now.
If you were to get run over by a bus tomorrow, though, it means that someone else could go into that channel and see what you were talking about.
Oh, right, I see.
That's not to say that they had to be subscribed to that channel, so every time, it just means that the information... Whereas if it's private chat, they can't, if you disappear, they can't get at it. Around that topic, something that we've been doing recently, which I think works quite well, it's not perfect, but works quite well, is the concept of something called journals. So everyone has their own public channel with their name called a journal.
Okay.
And what they do is they write through the day what they're working on, any blocking problems that they have, any sort of interesting ideas that they have. Even though it's visible to everyone, there's an informal rule that says no one else should write in anyone else's channel.
This journal's about work, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not like about your, love life or something bizarre.
Dear diary, today.
Dear diary. What would you write about? Today I looked out the window.
I really, really, really fancy the post lady. She's always bringing me presents. I think she likes me. No.
I think you're misunderstanding what the mail is.
How do you mean? Oh, I see.
Mail. No, the mail is in the post.
Oh, okay.
It's in the postage.
Yeah.
Not the mailman who's a mailman.
Well, I was going to say we have a post lady.
Yeah, okay, fine.
But anyway, what was I going to say? Yeah, so the journal is just your way of writing your own notes, and it's useful mostly for yourself. So it's your own little log of like, I was working on this thing. It's almost like an informal timesheet.
Oh, okay.
Basically.
Oh, we have formal timesheets, so maybe we don't need to do your thing.
Maybe.
We log all our time using a thing called Tempo on Jira, which is annoying, but I mean it's fine because time needs to be logged for billing, and so I should be pleased that my time is worth some kind of money.
Yeah,
but it is a bit of a ball ache.
I've never been a fan of strict timesheeting, but then I can see why it's necessary in an agency environment.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole point of a journal is, you just write in it through the day and other people can go in and have a look. So I can have a look at my team and, go, what it removes is any ambiguity about what people are working on. So I'm never particularly anxious about my team's productivity because I can see, oh yeah, they're working on that big feature. That's fine. Yeah, so have you been using, I think we mentioned briefly before, you're using Skype? Have you been using other screen share?
We're using Skype, yeah, and so we use that for chatting to people, having a morning meeting. And
how is it? How's that?
It's fine. It's absolutely fine. Sometimes it's a bit laggy and a bit, the sound cuts out, which is really difficult. If someone's telling you something really important and then it starts going all kind of like the sound goes all blotchy, and then I have to either ask them to repeat it, which I feel like I can only do a few times before it becomes impolite.
Yeah.
Or I can just go, yes, of course I heard that, and then just carry on and pretend that I heard it, and then just maybe blag it, which is probably not the best thing to do when I'm guessing what someone's told me to do. But usually everything's written down anyway.
So, yeah, we've tried quite a few different screen share.
Why don't you stick to one?
It's something that I think is surprisingly difficult to do. I think and I think a lot of them are a little bit crappy. But the one that seems to be most reliable, and I hate to say it because I know it's been embroiled in some privacy issues of late, is Zoom.
Okay. What are the privacy issues?
Ooh, good question. I think there's been stories about people dropping in on other people's chats. That's one thing.
Oh, is this because you invite someone to your Zoom thing using a URL, and that URL has a number, like a 10-character number or something like that?
And I assume you can guess someone else's if you are...
So if you just change the number, you could end up in someone else's chat.
Yeah, so I think someone was doing a meeting and someone just dropped in and started live streaming porn as a webcam.
I mean, obviously in a meeting that would be very inappropriate, but it is kind of also hilarious.
Yeah. But there's other things as well. There's a link to some data going through China, which has privacy concerns.
All right, okay.
Supposedly. The other thing which I thought was hilarious. So in Zoom, you have a chat where you can chat to the whole meeting.
Like a text chat.
Yeah. You can also send a direct message to another another participant in the meeting.
Yeah, usually they are human, I assume.
Well, You never know. The robots are taking over. So yeah, you can send a direct private message to people, but the assumption is that's private. And during the meeting, that is the case. Those messages are private. But after the meeting, a transcript of the whole chat gets shared with all the participants, including the private messages.
Oh, right. Okay. So you might be like chatting to someone else going, oh, this person who's talking is really boring. I really wish he'd shut up. And then that's going to get sent to them at the end.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
So the private messages aren't that private.
Oh, right. Okay. That's
which is bad for usability. That's a real UX problem. There is no way that you wouldn't think that that's private. If you were looking at that chat.
Yeah, we just assume it, don't we? We just assume that it's private.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it now.
Yeah.
So you click on someone's name and it says to person's name, brackets, privately. And privately is in orange to really highlight it.
Really?
Yeah.
So it does say privately.
Yeah.
But it's not private.
But, well...
What a lie.
Yeah, apparently. This is what I read. I've not actually seen it myself, but an entire transcript of the chat, including your private messages, gets shared with everyone afterwards.
I saw a funny tweet as well. I think someone from the government, from the UK government, had done a screenshot of people from the government all having a meeting together over Zoom.
It was Boris Johnson. Was it? It was our Prime Minister.
Okay, but he'd also included the URL, which meant that anyone else could type that same URL in and join the meeting.
Oh, that's hilarious. I mean, maybe I didn't see that. Maybe that wasn't the Prime Minister. I know the Prime Minister was criticised for using Zoom.
Oh, right, okay.
Because of its potential privacy links.
Well,
but
I mean, if it solves a problem, I don't know. Are you worried that it might possibly route through China?
No, but then my meetings are incredibly not of a sensitive nature, really.
Yeah.
It's pretty boring stuff.
And also, so we're looking at each other over Zoom right now, and to be honest, I'm just glad that someone might be listening.
Thing is, we'd know if they were here, because it would go ding-dong, wouldn't it?
Oh, what? Is that a racist comment?
What?
What? What did you...
When someone joins a Zoom meeting, it goes ding-dong.
Oh, right. Sorry. I thought... Yeah, okay. It's fine.
What do you think I said?
It's fine. Ignore what I said. 3, 2, 1. Bad usability nightmares.
Bad usability nightmares.
That really doesn't work over like a lag, does it?
It did for me. I was exactly in time with you.
So... Here's something. Now, this happened weeks ago, actually, and by the time I get around to editing this podcast, it will be well in the past. But there was a...
Hold on a minute. Before you crack on too much, I'm going to have a refill.
Well, don't you...
What?
Jesus. Right, okay, fine. Get it over and done with. Right, okay.
I'm gonna savor the moment.
How drunk are you getting? We've never been drunk on a podcast before.
So?
I don't know. Podcast might be absolute trash, or it might be the best we've ever done. Probably the first, not the second. Have you finished pouring yet? I want to get on with my story.
I'm licking the drip. Hold on. Oh, I had a lovely chicken dinner today for tea.
Jeez.
Hannah cooked a chicken dinner.
Right, this is what I was worried about. If you're going to start drinking, you're going to talk about really random things.
Cheers.
Okay. Right, good. Right, tell me about your chicken dinner later. I've got something to tell you about the Google Nest camera failure. So, I've got a Google...
Oh, okay, go on. Yeah.
So I've got a Google Nest camera. Okay,
yeah.
It's a camera that sits in the house. It's like a CCTV camera. Now, very useful when I'm out. Last couple of weeks not been very useful at all because I've been in, and I had to turn it off because I didn't want myself to be surveilled. I was just it sends like an alert to my phone every time it sees a person.
Is that the word? Surveilled.
Surveilled.
If you're on a camera, are you being surveilled?
Yeah, surveilled by myself and the Google employees that look at it, possibly. I don't know.
Okay.
So usually,
I think that's a lovely word, though, isn't it? That's just a lovely word. Surveilled.
Right. How many whiskies you had?
1.
All right, great. Right, so the reason why I bought it is to just check what the cat's up to. And it's kind of funny.
You bought a camera, an expensive one,
yeah,
to check what the cat's up to.
Yeah, I mean, also it possibly could be useful if we get burgled and somebody comes in and I can maybe send the footage to Crime Watch or whatever it is.
That's just the secondary concern. That's just a happy coincidence accident.
Yeah, but I wanted to see what the cat's up to. We've talked about this on the podcast before, I'm pretty sure, because I told you about the time that my parents came round dressed as Santa.
Mm-hmm. That's true, but I don't think I fully realised that you bought it just for the cat.
Right, okay. So we like to see what the cat's up to. Sometimes she goes sits on the fish tank. Mm-hmm. Sometimes she just wanders around going meow, like wondering where we are, which is a bit sad, really. I mean, for us both. But what happened is they had an outage a couple of weeks ago. Well, all of the Google Nest cameras had an outage, and that includes the indoor cameras and the outdoor cameras. And what happened was that there's a light on it. There's a light that tells you the status. It's green for when it's recording. It's off when it's not recording. But it's blue, like a blinking blue, when it's like in sort of setup mode. You know what I mean? When it's not quite set up yet. So it's blinking blue to mean something's not quite right. And that was happening while it was offline. There was some bug. I don't know what had happened, but it was offline for quite a few hours. And that also included the outdoor cameras, which meant that everyone's outdoor surveillance cameras had this blue light to tell you, as in advertise, that it wasn't even working. So any burglars that were walking past could go, "Oh, look, that security camera's not working right now because it's got the blue light on rather than the green one." So it was essentially saying this camera's not working.
Do you think any burglar would know though?
Well, I think a part of a burglar's job is to be, to research research things like this, all the surveillance techniques and cameras and security methods.
I think you're giving them more credit. I think you're thinking they're all like, Mission Impossible style.
Oh, right, sorry. The thing is, the only films that I've seen about burglars are like heist movies, and they spend a lot of effort, don't they?
Ocean's 11.
Yeah, exactly, that sort, where they really plan in a lot of detail.
Have you seen the film, is it called Baby Driver?
Ooh, that's quite good, yeah. Good music, yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Were you going to tell us something interesting about that, or are you just checking I've seen it?
I just think it's a good heist film.
Right.
See, I'm sure the alcohol is making this podcast way better.
I don't think... I don't really want to say.
What? That it's going downhill?
Anyway, the resolution to that story is that Google apologised and they refunded everyone a free month, which for me is £4. So I got £4.
That's a bit crap, isn't it?
Well,
I want more than that.
But it's a free month. I don't know. I wasn't really affected by this. I wasn't annoyed by this because I've only got an indoor camera that looks at the cat. So for me, it's fine. And I don't think anyone was actually burgled because of this outage.
So before the lockdown started,
yeah,
my dad asked me to order some paint on his behalf.
Okay.
A tin of paint for his house. And I went on eBay because that was the cheapest price. Ordered it from a shop. I can't remember what it was. It's not really important. I got a thing to say it had been shipped. And then this whole blooming virus thing kicked off.
Oh,
and I had to work from, start working from home. And the office was closed. And the parcel was being delivered to my office. So this is a problem.
Yes.
It can't be delivered to a closed office.
Yeah.
So I had to try and get this redirected. So my first port of call was to go to the retailer.
Right.
eBay. Unfortunately, this eBay seller is now away, also because of the coronavirus.
Away? Oh,
unable to respond to queries. Oh. So that was a no-go. So my only hope was the courier Hermes.
Okay.
So with the tracking information, I could log into the Hermes website.
Yeah.
And one of the options was to divert the parcel. But if I clicked on to divert the parcel, it would say you can't divert the parcel. I have no idea why. There was you could click on divert, but then it would say, sorry, you can't divert this parcel. So for whatever reason, they wouldn't let me put in a different address. So that's the first problem.
Okay.
But I'm stuck now, right? If I can't divert the parcel, I can't get in touch with the people that sold it.
So the parcel is definitely going to the place that it definitely can't go.
It's going to a place that's closed.
Yeah.
And the shop that sold it me is now closed.
Oh, it's in some sort of limbo.
The only people that so Hermes have got this parcel, and I need to try and tell them somehow, please don't deliver it to the place that's closed. Can you send it somewhere else instead, please?
Okay.
Very kindly.
So what happens next?
Well, so like I said, I logged into their online thing and tried to divert it, but it wouldn't let me. So the next thing is I thought, well, I'll try and contact them. Now, I went to the contact page and, again, understandably, they say, please don't call us because we are so swamped at the minute with coronavirus deliveries. Can you use our online help service instead? So I thought, great, I will do that. And they have a chatbot.
A chatbot?
Yes.
Amazing. Okay.
So I'm sure you've all used these before. It's like a robot. It's like a chat, like you're chatting between friends on a messaging app, but it's actually a robot that you're talking to. Okay. Now, the problem that I had with this is if you're talking to a chatbot, it's a computer, right? It should be able to respond instantly or thereabouts instantly, right? It's not, There's no human there to think about what to put as a response. It's just a computer going, process what they've said, right? Send them that response, right? There's no real delay required, is there?
No.
And yet the Hermes chatbot, I'm not joking, took about 2 minutes to respond to any message. It was bizarre.
And you think this is faked? Do you think this is a fake delay?
I don't know. At first, I thought it was broken. So can I read you my chat with the Hermes assistant?
Oh, if you want to, yeah.
Okay, so I said hello,
Yeah.
and it said, "Hi, I'm Holly. I'll be your friendly digital assistant today. So what is your name?"
Can you please read out the robot in a robot voice?
So what is your name? And I said, Andrew. And so it said, "Thanks, Andrew. Nice to meet you. So I can get you to one of our friendly advisors if needed. Can you tell me your email address?" Okay, so I gave it my email address. Okay. And then nothing. Nothing. Time stood still. Right? And I'm thinking,
maybe the computer
it can't just ask me my email.
Maybe the server was having an outage.
It can't just ask me my email address. So I literally said, "Is that it?" Nothing. Silence. And then I wrote it a message saying, "Can I divert a parcel?" And again, just silence.
Right.
Okay. And then eventually it responded and it said, "Great. Do you have any of the following? A tracking number, a calling card number, or I don't have either." Okay. And so these are like buttons in the chat. And so I pressed, I've got a tracking number, that's fine. And it did nothing. So I clicked again, tracking number, and it did nothing. And I clicked again, tracking number, and it did nothing. I thought it was broken, right? And then all of a sudden, it basically told me 25 times, "Go ahead and enter it, please, Andrew. Go 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 ahead and enter it, please, Andrew." It was operating on like a satellite delay of like 10 minutes. It was ridiculous. It was bizarre. It was really weird. Like, I think if you are someone writing a chatbot, even if, and I don't see why it would, but even if it had some like long processing step, it should at least acknowledge the response and say, "Great, just a second." Do you know what I mean? It's easy for it to program a chatbot to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
But it didn't. It just, with every single interaction that you made, it just sat there for what felt like an eternity.
I can see why a small delay might be okay, because we're used to it. As a conversation, we're used to a little bit of a delay and then the response to come.
I'm guessing it probably feels more natural. And I'd be interested to see some research around that, actually. I don't know of any, but about actually introducing a delay.
Like a few seconds, yes, but not like a minute or 2 minutes. I think that's incredibly unnatural. If it was to reply instantly, like if it was to reply nanoseconds after you press enter, that would be weird. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't like that. I would feel like it's not listened to me correctly. I probably wouldn't even recognise that a response has been given. But that's too long. That is too long.
Yeah.
So, and did you get the parcel? Was there an end to this rigmarole?
So after going through this chatbot for what felt like an eternity,
yeah,
it then told me it was going to escalate it to a human.
Oh, at least the humans are still in charge.
And then about 2 days later, they sent me a message saying, "I think we've lost it, what was in the parcel, so we can try and find it." And I said, "I don't know what it looks like because I didn't send it, but it's some paint." And then about a day or two later after that, they said, "We've lost it and there's no compensation because it's paint."
There's no compensation because it's paint?
Yeah.
Okay.
And apparently that's against their terms and conditions. They don't allow paint.
Oh, right.
So I just contacted the shop, via eBay, and I got a refund. So, I just didn't end up with the paint, but it didn't cost me anything. So that's fine. But it was just this terrible chatbot experience is kind of the crux of the nightmare.
Yeah. I can see why that's really frustrating. And I like using technology. And in fact, I think I'd probably rather send a text message, or an email or something like that than speak to someone face to face sometimes.
Yeah.
But also some other times you expect to be able to have a conversation with someone who can figure out what you need and help you get through the process and solve the problem for you. But a robot that's essentially just responding to criteria it's not really the same.
It didn't really do anything useful, did it? It took probably about 15 minutes for something that only really needed to take a minute, which was to go, "What's your tracking number?" That was basically all it did, really. It went, "What's your tracking number?" And then it basically told me some information that I could see already from the tracking page. That wasn't useful. And then it said,
"Yeah,
I'll divert you to a human." But it took so long to do that short exchange.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. But I think it just highlights the importance in a chatbot of timeliness of responses, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like we said, a delicate balance. You want a little pause to make it feel natural, but really someone should expect instant or near instant feedback. And if you can't give them that, this comes back to the same reason actually that I hate the self-service checkouts in supermarkets, is lack of feedback. Give people some feedback. It's fine to take a minute to process something, not a problem. You don't have to always be instantaneous, but gives people feedback. Let them know you're working on it.
Yeah, I agree.
It doesn't bring up a spinner. It doesn't say please wait. It doesn't do anything. You have no idea whether it's registered your touch or not because there's no tactile feedback either on a touch screen. You think, "Oh, I didn't touch it properly," and you press it again and it still does nothing, and you press it again, it still does nothing, and then all of a sudden those 3 pressers do 3 things you didn't want it to do.
It was the same typing on a Windows 95 computer.
Yeah, well, you'd write something and the screen would catch up minutes later.
Yeah. I've got a similar rigmarole to your delivery one. Mm-hmm. So I also had something that was to be delivered just before we went into lockdown.
Ooh, hold on, just a second. Do we need to rebrand this as bad usability rigmaroles?
Bad usability rigmaroles.
I feel like that could be...
Also, if you're listening to this and you've had a similar rigmarole, please email us at podcast@theunusable.com. We want to highlight the best rigmaroles.
Please email us. Please email us to rigmaroles@theunusable.com.
Don't say that unless you're going to set that email address up.
I'll set it up now. Rigmaroles.
I don't know how you spell rigmaroles.
Rigmaroles@theunusable.com, or tweet us using our Twitter handle and the hashtag rigmarole.
Is it the hashtag rigmarole, or is it just hashtag rigmarole? How many hashtags are in there?
I don't know.
Right, can I tell you about my rigmarole now, please? I can't even say rigmarole anymore.
Oh, I think we need to say rigmarole a few more times.
Right, so
I told you alcohol was a good idea for the podcast.
So something was to be ordered. The office closed down. It told me that it was going to arrive on the day after the office was closed down. I knew about it. I could see on the tracking app. It was on its way, and it kept telling me it's these many stops away or whatever. But that's not that useful to me because it didn't give me any option to redirect it or to say, no, don't deliver it to this office, which is closed right now. Deliver it to my house instead or somewhere else. So I had to wait for it to get there, and then I had to wait for them to send me a thing saying, you weren't in. So we've left you a card. You know how they leave you a card sometimes? Yeah. This wasn't Hermes. This was Royal Mail, which is the same, but more royal, like it's, I don't know, it's delivered by the Queen or something. I'm not sure. And so they sent me a link to a website about options of what to do next, which I thought, great, I'll be able to get this redirected to my house. Maybe if I've spent some more money, I don't mind that. At least we'll get the parcel. So they said, we can't redirect it to your house, but we can redirect it to one of these 3 post offices. Yeah. They gave me the option, these 3 post offices, and neither of them were anywhere near my house. So I just chose the one that was closest to, like the easiest to get to, but still quite far away, to be honest. So I thought, right, I'll go in the evening, I'll drive there, and I'll pick it up. What time is this post office open till? So I looked on the Royal Mail's website, because I thought, this is a post office. I need to make sure that I'm finding the correct opening times, because it actually looked like it was part of a shop. You know how sometimes there's a post office part of a shop?
That's quite common. It's like a little newsagent type post office combo.
And you know, if you want to find out the opening times of a shop, you can look on Google Maps, can't you? And it tells you opening times usually. But I don't know. I didn't really trust that.
Well, that might be the times for the shop, but maybe the post office opens for a shorter window than that.
Well, exactly. That's why I wanted to make sure from the horse's mouth, from the Royal Mail themselves. Hang on. Am I thinking of Royal Mail or am I thinking of post office? Are they the same or are they different?
I think there are some weird differences between them. Yeah,
I'm confused. Anyway, I don't know.
But they're obviously closely linked.
But I think I was looking on the website for the correct one, and it said that shop was open until midnight. That the post office part was open. I'm pretty sure that is exactly what they said, because I checked it and I thought, I don't want to make this journey if they're closed. Anyway, I get there. Blooming closed, isn't it? So what am I going to do now? In full lockdown now. Can't even go now.
So you've not got it?
No, not got it. It was like 60 quid worth of stuff as well.
You can still go. I thought you could still go to shops and things. You can still go to a post office.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. How do I even know when it's open? It's so unclear.
Good question. I would bank on it being open in the day and go. But I suppose the problem is I wouldn't want to have that contact with people. I wouldn't want to be putting myself in that situation.
Well, I'll probably disinfect it and.
I know, but it's going to the post office, isn't it? That's the highest risk factor in all of it. Is being in the same building as other people breathing virus spores.
True, but you don't have to touch anyone, and you can pay by contactless, and I'm pretty sure it had an automatic opening door, so I didn't have to touch anything, and I could wear gloves anyway and have a shower when I get home.
Yeah, so I do that with all the shopping when we get home from the thing. I take it all out of the bags and wipe it all down. Yeah, that is a rigmarole as well, isn't it? It is a rigmarole, yeah.
Right.
But I'd rather that than
dying of a virus.
Than be a spreader.
True. Can I tell you about our latest Twitter followers, Andrew?
Oh, one of my favourite parts of the podcast.
Is it really? Do you want to say hello to each one?
Yes. I need to think of a good greeting for them.
Just say hello, to be honest. Don't do anything weird or French or German or anything. Right.
But that's the best thing.
It's not, though. I don't think anybody tweets us and says, "Oh, I really like it when you do the Twitter followers bit," and Andrew says hello in a funny accent. But honestly, if you listen to this and that is your favourite part, just let us know. Hashtag Twitter followers.
Hashtag not a rigmarole.
Right, I'm telling you our Twitter followers right now. So we've got Jeff Dayton.
Greetings.
Joel Wayazerma.
Greetings.
Emmett Norton.
Greetings.
April Taco.
Greetings.
Don't know if that's her actual last name, but I mean, I'm not going to judge. Jen Murphy.
Taco. Wait. Greetings.
What are you talking about? You say taco.
I was thinking about that person's name. I was going to say
just
taco,
thinking about
taco.
tacos.
Yeah.
Right, where do we get to? Anna Arsenault.
Taco.
Are you still there? It could be like a proper Spanish name. Don't mock it.
Taco.
Andy, just concentrate. I knew this was a bad idea to drink whiskey. Don't start coughing. Coronavirus.
Okay, go on.
Daniel Ahmed.
Greetings.
Tonya K. Canning.
Greetings.
Andy Pickup.
Greetings.
Ashish. Andy, don't take a swig of whiskey just when I'm about to when I'm saying their name.
Yeah.
Right. Ashish Kumar.
Greetings.
Emil Begbie.
Greetings.
The Tupac of UX.
Greetings.
Abby Fitzgerald.
Greetings.
Olga Oskolkova.
Greetings.
Sean O'Neill.
Greetings.
Dana Biley.
Greetings.
And KJ Bottomley.
Greetings.
All right, good.
Was one of them called Tupac?
Yeah, one of them was called the Tupac of UX. That's his name.
I think they should get in a relationship with the Taco person, and then when they marry, they can be called Tupac Taco.
Wait a minute. Since I wrote that down, he's changed his name to JM the Creative.
Oh.
But he in his description, he still called himself the Tupac of UX.
What does that mean?
Now, I don't know what that means.
What is the Tupac of something?
The Tupac, I don't know. All I know about Tupac is that he died ahead of his time.
He wrote a whole article on Medium about it, but it's no longer a thing.
All right, fine. Well, never mind. Oh, we've had a lot of people tweeting us as well.
Okay.
So Pete Clark sent us some tweets of some photos of a sink in a public bathroom that he's been to. Now, I'm not quite sure where this was, but he sent a photo.
Okay.
Maybe this doesn't work on the on an audio podcast, to be honest, but I'll describe it as best as I can. Mm-hmm. He sent a photo of the public bathroom and the sink.
Okay.
And it says, "Spot the hand dryer in this photo." And obviously there's no hand dryer to be seen, but there is one there. And what happened is that under the mirror that's just above the sink, if you put your hand underneath that mirror, warm air blows out. That's where the hand dryer is. But he didn't know that, and he said that someone had to show him.
How would you know that?
Well, exactly. How would you know that? Someone else who was in there showed him, just told him it was there, because he was like probably with wet hands walking around going, don't know where it is. And then, yeah, there's a man who showed him. So presumably he then had to stay and wait for someone else to come in and show them. And it'd just be like this like chain of information sharing. Well, then the next morning, the whole day could go past and nobody will dry their hands. Everyone will have wet hands the next day.
What if you're the last person in there that night?
I don't know. I just thought that was just a bizarre thing.
Or the first person the next morning?
Justine Marie Benoit tweeted us a photo of a measuring cup where all of the measurements on the side were transparent, so you couldn't actually see. Like, if you filled it full of liquid, or half full of liquid or whatever, you couldn't really see what the measurement was because it was transparent.
Hold on a minute. How do you know it's even there?
Because it's transparent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember. I haven't got the photo in front of me. Okay, so it was my brother's birthday recently, and because we're all staying at home right now, and it's difficult to send things through the post, I wanted to get him something virtual, like a gift card, gift voucher, something like that. But I wanted it to be a little bit more personal than a generic, like, Amazon voucher or something like that. And so I know that he likes reading comics, and he gets his comics from this service called Comixology. I don't think you would have heard of it, because I know you're not a comics fan. But it's like a Kindle. In fact, it's owned by Amazon, but imagine it's like Kindle, but for comics. Okay. It's an online store, essentially. Yeah. And so I wanted a gift voucher. I couldn't find any on the app itself. I looked through every option on the app. There's nothing about gift vouchers, so I had to Google. And I found a page about gift vouchers for Comixology, but it went to a page on the American version of the site. So it went to the .com, not the .co.uk, as we would expect.
I think Amazon's quite bad for this generally, by the way. I don't know if this is a hangover from Amazon themselves, but I usually find myself, I quite often get lost on the American Amazon site when trying to do something.
Well, this is a whole completely separate site, and I think it must have been one that, like a company that Amazon bought at some point. Mm-hmm. So what happened is that I'm on this page and it has a pop-up that says you're on the American version of the site. Anything that you buy here won't be transferred across to your UK site. And then there's a link to go to the UK version of that page. I click it, but there's no UK version of the gift vouchers page. But this is a legitimate company, a legitimate store with a legitimate UK version. But as far as I could see, I went through all of the options and there was no way to get a gift voucher that wasn't American in American dollars. I wanted it in British pounds. And I found that really frustrating because, like, I'm here, I'm like, hello, I've got some money to give you, but they didn't seem to have an option for me to receive it. And I just found that very strange. And I had to abandon the whole idea.
Yeah, they probably haven't thought about it, have they?
So I sent them a passive-aggressive tweet about it, and they said, oh, yeah, you can only do that on the US store right now. And I was kind of polite about it. I said, fine, but, I'm willing to give you some money here. And they said, yeah, we'll pass it on to the higher-ups or something. I don't know what they would do, but, I wanted to at least tell them they've missed out on some money. And I'll give them a PlayStation voucher instead. Which, actually, PlayStation thing was only a little bit better. The whole process seemed to be, you know how when you're buying something on Amazon or you're buying something on another site and it asks you at the end, is this a gift? And if you say this is a gift, yes, they'll have some more options for you. Like they'll wrap it or they'll send it without the price and it'll be a bit more of a nice experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
if I'm receiving it for myself, I don't mind that it's in cardboard. But if I'm sending it to someone else, I want it to be just a nicer experience when they open it. And because it's a virtual thing, I expected there to be a similar system. I expected them to send him an email saying, hey, look, you've been given this voucher as a present. Here's the instructions. But there's none of that from the PlayStation Store. They sent me an email saying you've purchased it, and then it had the voucher code. And so I had to then make up my own thing to send him. So I had to send him an email.
It's surprising how much good, like how many big companies just have really terrible experiences for things like that.
Yeah. It's not a huge deal. I obviously, all I really needed to give him was the voucher code. I just thought that they could wrap it up a bit nicer. Not physically wrap it up, because I didn't want to send him physically anything through the post. Mm-hmm. But, sometimes you receive an Amazon gift voucher and it's in a nice box. A pointlessly nice box, because that's immediately going to go in the bin and it's a waste. But it at least feels like a present. It feels like something there and nice and tangible.
Yeah, it feels like... I definitely think these things should be digital, because it's just wasteful, isn't it? Creating physical vouchers for things that don't need to be physical.
Yeah.
But, yeah, why not put some effort in? You could jazz it up. You could have a nice little picture.
Yeah.
Nice little e-card.
That's it. If there was an option to send an e-card, I could have done that separately, I suppose, but I just thought that would be part of the experience.
Sorry.
What was that? It's like you were quite ill halfway through the sentence.
If you'd like to get early access to our content and see some bonus material, we have set up a Patreon where you can donate us a little bit of money, which helps pay for equipment that we use for the podcast and things like that. And in exchange, we will reward you handsomely with early access to videos and things like that.
And some bloopers.
Oh, bloopers? Have we got bloopers?
I usually get loads and loads of bloopers. It's mostly you just acting like an idiot, to be honest.
Excellent. Well, if that sounds good to you, we've set up a Patreon. We've also set up an Unusable podcast shop where you can get amazing branded merchandise. You can basically walk around as an advert for us, which, why wouldn't you want to do that? And that helps support us as well. So we're going to put the links to both of those on our website at podcast.theunusable.com. And we very much appreciate anything that you do for us.
Can I get a t-shirt with my face on it so that I could walk around and my face is like on my chest, but then it's also my face?
Yes. Well,
or is it just the logo?
Right now it's just the logo, but I think based upon what you just said, I'm definitely going to set up an item in our shop where you can buy a t-shirt with David's face on.
Nobody needs that in their lives at all. It's fine.
If anyone buys the bum bag, by the way, and sends me a picture, then that would just make my day.
Nobody is going to buy a bum bag that says Unusable Podcast. Nobody's going to buy a bum bag anyway. Why? I should
say, for our American audience, this is a fanny pack, I think you call it.
A fanny pack.
A fanny pack. Yeah, what we call a bum bag. But
Right.
I really hope someone buys it.
I'm so certain that nobody is going to buy it that I will give you a tenner if anyone buys it.
You give me a tenner if anyone buys
I'll give
it.
you a tenner.
I think we should donate a tenner to the person that does buy it.
Well, that makes no sense.
That means we're just paying someone £1 to buy a bum bag because the bum bag's only £9.
It's still more money than anyone wants to spend on a bum bag.
True.
Anyway, that is the end of this podcast. If you've seen or used something unusable recently, we would like to hear about it. You can email us at podcast@theunusable.com, and we're on Twitter @unusablepodcast. If you've enjoyed this, there's plenty more. The last episode we talked about security is pointless, where Andrew realised Nicolas Cage could steal his daughter from playgroup. Do you remember that one, Andrew?
Oh.
Great. Okay. And on YouTube, we've got a video of Andrew talking about the advantages of British plug sockets.
Good video.
Music is by Gold5472. Please subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts so you'll get a notification about the next one. And that is it until next time. Bye.
Bye.